Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah wahdahu wa salatu wa salamu ala man la nabiyya ba'dah. The Sheikh Hafidhullah Ta'ala, Sheikh Saleh ibn Muhammad ibn Abdul Aziz al Sheikh Hafidhullah Ta'ala wa rahimahu. He said he's in Naam. The Sheikh Hafidhullah, he mentions that he says that the principle in this subject matter is that the intellect has to be used in accordance with the texts. The text comes before the intellect. The texts come before the intellect, and that the intellect has to be used in accordance with the text. Right? We're talking about when a person is trying to understand the asma of Allah and His sifat, Allah Ta'ala's names and attributes, and that the nusus of the Quran and the Sunnah, that a person does not use the principles, philosophical principles and other such principles to understand and rule on the Quran, the text of the Quran and the Sunnah, the principles of philosophy, the principles of physics, theory of relativity, the principles of Isaac Newton, the principles of molecular biology, the principles of astronomy, meteorology, mathematics, and other such principles are not used when it comes to understanding the Quran and the Sunnah. بل نأخذ القواعد العقلية من النصوص. Rather, the Sheikh, he said, we take the principles of the Quran and the Sunnah, we take the principles, the intellectual principles from the texts. فالنصوص مصدر للقواعد العقلية. The texts are a source. The text is a source. The text of the Quran and the Sunnah is the source for intellectual principles. كما أنها مصدر للشرع وللأحكام. Just like it is the source for the legislation and the rulings. وهذا فيه إبطال لمن قدم العقل على النقل. And this is a refutation of the one who, this is a refutation of, and a nullification of those for those individuals who put the intellect before the texts. Those individuals that make the intellectual principles of philosophy and other things, make those the source. And with this source, you evaluate the Quran and the Sunnah. No, that's falsehood. Right? So this is a nullification and a refutation of that. Or جعل العقل أصلا وسن فرعا, likewise. Or just like it's a refutation, or it's a refutation of individuals who make the intellect, the five senses, and all of this kind of stuff. They make that the foundation, and they make the text of the Quran and the Sunnah a branch. He says, وهذه القاعدة هي التي كتب فيها شيخ الإسلام تيمية كتابه العظيم العجابة. This is the subject in which, or this is the principle in which Ibn Taymiyyah wrote his great and amazing book, درء تعارض العقل والنقل. طيب. الذي قال فيه ابن القيم رحمه الله تعالى مثنيا عليه منظما. Ibn Qayyim mentioned about this book in a line of poetry. وقرأ كتاب العقل والنقل الذي ما في الوجود له نظير ثاني. Read the book, and the translation of this line of poetry is read the book Al-Aqli wa Naql alladhi, which there doesn't exist a book like it. He says, فَإِنَّ هَذَا الكتاب أصل في دحض أصول المتكلمين. This book is this book about the concept of, or defending against, using the intellect to oppose the text, or defending against the concept of the idea that there is a contradiction, paradox, lack of agreement between the intellect and the text. It says this book is a foundation in refuting the principles of the people of philosophy, the people of innovation, and the people of innovation like the Ash'ira and the Mu'tazila and other than them. This is why they hate Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah and his student Ibn al-Qayyim. This is why they hate them so much. Because as Shaykh Muhammad Aman al-Jami rahimahullah ta'ala mentioned, he said, just as Muhammad Aman al-Jami rahimahullah ta'ala mentioned, he said Ibn Taymiyyah blew up, metaphorically speaking, the principles of the people of innovation, destroyed their building. What they built, he destroyed with a bomb, or not a bomb, like a bulldozer or something. Broke it down, and with principles, right? That's Ibn Taymiyyah. He said Ibn al-Qayyim came and took in each individual brick of the building and broke it down further into dust. Allahu Akbar. So this is why they hate these two great Imams. He says, وَلَيْسَ ثَمَّ مُصَنِّفْ يَعْدِلُهُ في هذا من مصنفات العلماء. He said there's no book similar to it of the books of the scholars of Islam. وهو مطبوع إلى آخره. This book is available in print. He said it has a checking by Dr. Muhammad Rashad Salim in 11 volumes with the index type. The Sheikh, he continues, he says, وَمِنَ الْقَوَاعِدِ الْمُقَرَّرَةِ فِي هَذَا الْبَابِ. Another principle in this subject, التي سنحتاجها, that we are going to need, أن inshallah. He says that we're going to need, inshallah, in the future, in terms of clarifying the meaning of the verses and the ahadith that have names or attributes. He says, إن الواجب على العباد أن يؤمنوا بما أنزل الله عز وجل في كتابه. That it is obligatory for the worshippers to believe what Allah Ta'ala revealed in His book. It is obligatory upon the worshippers to believe what Allah Ta'ala revealed in His book. والإيمان بما أنزل الله عز وجل في كتابه أو أخبر به نبيه من الأسماء والصفات يكون بأشياء. Believing in what Allah Ta'ala revealed in His book and what He informed His messenger of names and attributes. Believing in the names and attributes that Allah Ta'ala revealed in the Quran and informed His messenger of in the Sunnah is with some issues, some things, right? Necessitates some things. Some things you have to do in order to believe in these names and attributes. The Sheikh, he says, al-awwalu ithbatu sifa, affirming the characteristic. لأن الله عز وجل أثبتها, because Allah Ta'ala affirmed it. فيثبتها كما أثبتها الله عز وجل. So the person affirms it as Allah. Al-Iman. The second thing that a person that is included or is meant by believing in what the revelation in the Quran and the Sunnah and those names and attributes mentioned therein. And يثبت المعنى الذي يدل عليه ظاهر اللفظ, that the person affirms the meaning which is apparent from the word. Once again, the person believes in the meaning which is apparent from the word. فإن القرآن نزل بلسان عربي مبين تؤقل معانيها. He said because the Quran was revealed in the Arabic language, clear Arabic, which is meaning which meaning is understood. وتفهم ألفاظه بلسان العرب وبلغة العرب. He said, and the words are understood in the Arabic language. وآيات الصفات وآيات الأسماء هي من القرآن. And the verses that contain names and attributes, the hadith that contain names and attributes, are part of these verses which are understood with the Arabic language. فهي تفهم باللسان العربي. They are understood in the Arabic language. فكل اسم من أسماء الله معنى يدل عليه. Every name of Allah Ta'ala, every one of Allah Ta'ala's names have a meaning. Every one of Allah Ta'ala's names have a meaning. وكل صفة من صفات الله لها معنى تدل عليه ظاهر اللفظ. Likewise, every attribute of Allah Ta'ala, every attribute of Allah Ta'ala's attributes has a meaning, has a the word has a meaning, have these words that are part of Allah Ta'ala's attributes have meanings. فيجب إثبات الصفة من حيث هي. So it's obligatory to affirm the characteristics as they are. ويجب إثبات المعنى الذي في اللفظ الظاهر وما يتبع ذلك. He said it is obligatory to believe in it is obligatory. He says it is obligatory to believe in the meaning of the word as it is. نقول إثبات المعنى لما. He said we affirm these meanings. Why? لأن الله عز وجل قال أفلا يتدبرون القرآن. Allah Ta'ala mentions, will they not ponder the Quran? Will they not ponder the Quran? يعني بين واضح. No, so, عفوا. He said وفي آية, and in another verse in Surah Al-Shu'ara, first verse of Surah Muhammad, أفلا يتدبرون القرآن, right? In Surah Al-Shu'ara, Allah Ta'ala mentions بلسان عربي مبين. I know this Quran was revealed بلسان عربي مبين, in a clear Arabic language. The Sheikh, he says يعني بين واضح وبين واضح, clear, pristine, clear. He says وهذا يعني أن آيات الكتاب ومنها آيات الأسماء والصفات. He said this means that the verses of the Quran, and included in those verses are the verses of the names and attributes. يتعلق بها التدبر والفهم. They are connected to this pondering and understanding. والتدبر فرع العلم بالمعنى. He said, and pondering is a result of understanding the meaning, or pondering. And in order to ponder, you have to understand. You have to have knowledge, and you have to understand the meanings. He says, وَلَيْسَتِ الْأَسْمَاءُ وَالصِّفَاتُ غَيْرَ مَعْلُومَةِ الْمَعْنَى. He said that names and attributes are not some things that we don't understand. The names and attributes are things that the names and attributes are names and attributes that are clear. We understand their meanings. فَإِنَّ مَعَانِيهَا مَعْلُومَةً. Their meanings are well known. وَالتَّدَبُّرُ لِلْمَعَانِي. And pondering is, when you ponder the meaning. أما لو لم تكن لمعان صارت بمنزلة الأحرف الهجائية. If there was no meaning for these names and these attributes, they would be just like the alphabet, the letters in the alphabet, or the alif, ba, ta, fa, jim, ha, kha, a, b, c, d, e, f, g. No meaning, just some letters. وَلَيْسَ لَهَا مَعَانٍ خَاص. And the letters that have no meaning, right? Letters that have no meaning. He says, وَهَذا يعني أنها لا تعقل ولا تتدبر. This would mean that they're not understood and they're not pondered. ولكن الله عز وجل أمرنا أن نعقل وأن نتدبر. He says, however, Allah Ta'ala ordered us to understand and to ponder. Allah Ta'ala ordered us to understand and to ponder His book. وأعظم ما في القرآن الدلالة والعلم بالله عز وجل ووصف الله عز وجل ونعوت كماله. ومن هذه كله وهذه كلها متعلق بما بها التدبر. فيكون التدبر لغير هذا المطلب الأعظم. يكون التدبر لغير هذا المطلب الأعظم. فكيف يكون التدبر لغير هذا المطلب الأعظم. طيب. Allah Ta'ala ordered us to ponder, to understand and ponder His book. He said in the greatest subject matter in the Quran, the greatest of what is the Quran, are those verses that talk about Allah Ta'ala. Those verses that contain knowledge about Allah Ta'ala and about His descriptions and characteristics and His complete adjectives, His complete characteristics and attributes. He says, وَهَذِهِ كُلُّهَا مُتَعَلَّقٌ بِهَا التَّدَبُّرُ. He said, all of these things are for pondering. فَكَيْفَ يَكُونُ التَّدَبُّرُ لِغَيْرِ هَذَا الْمَطْلَبِ الْأَعْظَمِ. He said, how can pondering be for other than this great goal? He says, أيضا من الأسماء من الإيمان بها, also believing in Allah Ta'ala's names and attributes is أن يؤمن بمتعلقاتها في الخلق. To believe in the effects of these names and attributes بخلق الله. These names and attributes have an effect on the creation. Allah Ta'ala's names and attributes have an effect on the creation. ومتعلقة بملكوت الله. نعم, he says فإن الأسماء والصفات لها آثار متعلقة بخلق الله ومتعلقة بملكوت الله. So these names and attributes, they affect the creation and they affect the creation. فكل اسم وكل صفة لها أثر. Every name and attribute has an effect. فنؤمن بالصفة من حيث هي. We believe in the attribute as it is. ونؤمن بما اشتملت عليه من المعنى. And we believe the meaning that it contains. ونؤمن بالأثر الذي للصفة ونؤمن بالأثر التي هي ونؤمن بالأثر الذي للصفة. We believe in the effects of this attribute. وهذا قد يسمى متعلق الصفة. He said this could possibly be called the connection of the attribute. فمثلا الله موصوف بأنه ذو سمع وأنه السميع. Allah Ta'ala is described as hearing and being the all-hearing. وهذا نثبت فيه السمع لله. He said, based on this, we affirm the characteristic, we affirm the name of Allah Ta'ala, we affirm the characteristic of hearing for Allah Ta'ala. وأنه السميع وهذا نثبت فيه السمع لله. Allah Ta'ala's name as Sami', based on it, we affirm that Allah Ta'ala hears. وَنُثْبِتُ مَعْنَى السَّمْعِ, and we affirm the meaning of hearing. ثُمَّ, we affirm the meaning of hearing. ثُمَّ نُثْبِتُ أَثَرَ هَذِهِ الصِّفَةِ فِي الْخَلْقِ, he says, and then we affirm the effects of this characteristic on the creation. We affirm the effects of this characteristic on the creation. وأن الله عز وجل لا يعزب عنه مسموع سبحانه من وسع سمعه الأصوات. And that Allah Ta'ala does not, and Allah Ta'ala hears everything. There's no sound, voice, or otherwise that Allah Ta'ala misses. And hearing some people in some language and some people in another language is just like hearing one person for Allah Ta'ala. And hearing the one that's far is just like for Allah hearing the one that's close. Allah Ta'ala hears it all. And Allah Ta'ala is not busied by hearing some things from some of his creation. That doesn't busy Allah from hearing other things from other creation, from other of his creation. He hears all of it, many different languages, many different sounds, males, females, young kids, people in a lot of distress, people in a little distress, people just mentioning Allah Ta'ala, praising him, people saying haram things, so on and so forth. Allah Ta'ala hears every single last sound, all of it. طيب, the Shaykh, he says, وما معنى السمع. The Shaykh, he says, السمع من حيث هو معناه إدراك ما يسمع. The Shaykh, he says, the meaning of sama' as it is it means to hear things. Yani, to hear sounds, to hear things. إدراك ما يسمع. To hear what is hearable, right? He said this is as it relates to the specific meaning of this word as it is in language. Because of course, and I'm going to end on this, of course, we know that there's no such thing as hearing as an independent thing. We can discuss the concept of hearing. We can discuss the concept of hearing, but this hearing as a concept only exists in our brains. Hearing as a concept only exists in our brains. In reality, hearing is connected to everything. The attribute, the adjective of hearing is connected to living things, right? In other words, you wouldn't say hearing is there's no such thing as hearing as an independent, autonomous, separate thing. It's a concept. It's a concept. It's a noun. And in English language, I believe they call it an idea. It's not a person. It's not a place. It's not a thing. It's an idea. It's a concept. But when you talk about hearing in reality, how it exists as a characteristic of someone or something. And the quality of hearing is going to be appropriate for that thing, that one. The hearing of the human being is not like the hearing of for example, the whales, or the hearing of the dogs, right? Dogs can hear in very high frequencies, or the hearing of some other animals that can hear from very far, right? The hearing of the human being is different than the hearing of the different animals. And inside the creation, there's great differing in the extent of the hearing. All of the hearings, all of the senses, or yani all of this concept of hearing is unique to every one that has that quality. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلِ الْأَعْلَى, for Allah Ta'ala is the greatest يعني Allah Ta'ala has the greatest descriptions and so on and so forth. So when we talk about hearing and we talk about Allah Ta'ala's hearing, it's unique and appropriate to Allah Ta'ala, because it's nothing like Allah Ta'ala. Likewise, his hearing, there's nothing like his hearing. There's no hearing like his hearing. We'll end here, inshallah. Subhanaka rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wassalamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.